Hey there, everybody. How you doing? It's Chris Herman here for another episode of On Deck. And I want to say, first and foremost, hello. How are you doing? Hope you're all doing well. Hope you're all safe and continuing to prosper in these interesting times. And I want to say thank you for taking the time out of your day or night to check out this content that we're putting out. It means a lot to me and everybody here at the Herman Agency. And if you have a moment, and you haven't already, please take a moment to like and subscribe, or rather subscribe to our Herman Agency YouTube channel, like the video, comment. And on today's topic, I'm definitely interested in hearing your thoughts and comments on what it is that I want to talk about today. So today's topic is an interesting one. You can see this card right here. It's called Mars and the Metaverse. Ooh. Mars and the Metaverse is the topic today. And, we're going to talk about technology in the future. And these are just some of my general observations, but I'm curious to hear your thoughts and comments on this topic as well. So again, here we go. Mars and the Metaverse. And actually, we're going to start talking about the Metaverse first. So I guess the title is backwards, but it just, Mars and the Metaverse flowed a little bit better than the Metaverse and Mars. I'm sure all of you at this point in time are aware of the fact that Facebook has reorganized, reformed, rebranded under the name Meta. And so the Facebook brands, which are inclusive of Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, Facebook Messenger, Oculus, virtual reality, and a few other of the brands all now fall under the Meta umbrella. Cool website if you check it out, or if you haven't checked it out, I recommend that you do. It's definitely thought-provoking, and that's really one of my main reasons why I wanted to talk about the topic today. A few weeks ago I'd seen in the news that Mark Zuckerberg and Facebook, now Meta, we're going to be investing, I can't remember, don't quote me on the numbers, but it was a huge financial investment, and I want to say it was for up to 10,000 workers in Europe who were going to be responsible for building out the Metaverse. And so for those of you that don't know, what is the Metaverse? The Metaverse is essentially a virtual reality experience that is going to allow humans, human beings, who are using virtual reality technology for Facebook through their Oculus technology to interact with the internet, if you will, and with each other and with social media programs and gaming and everything, to do this all in a virtual world. Definitely an interesting development, certainly one that I think any one of us that have either A, been paying attention to technology, and or B, who have seen The Matrix, would say that this, it's a logical next step in technology, but certainly one that is very thought-provoking on the, wow, this is really interesting and really cool side. And on the, whoa, this is this presents some scenarios for some unsettling thoughts and or experiences. And so what I would suggest everybody do is go to the Meta website and watch. It's called a keynote. I mean, it's really more of a video presentation by Mark Zuckerberg. Very well crafted and well produced, introducing the basic concept, and that is that Facebook has all these brands, we have all these users. How do we, and this is them speaking, this is Mark Zuckerberg speaking, how do we as a company now take our audience to the next level, if you will? How do we create a user experience that is more rich, more rewarding, more interactive, more creative? It's a lot of mores. And so the keynote and video presentation, of which I watched most of it, again, pretty fascinating. You see Mark Zuckerberg starting off in a perfectly designed home, stylistically speaking, and he starts introducing the concept and talking about what Meta is going to be all about. And then he literally transitions into his virtual self using his avatar, which avatars are no longer just a little snapshot photo or moving little graphic. Avatars are now a full, three-dimensional, if I'm even saying that right, characters that you can create and will be able to create for the metaverse, where you are able to, using your Oculus virtual reality headset, enter into a world where you interact with the social media platforms offered by Facebook, where you get to interact with your friends, create rooms, worlds. It looks like you can literally build your own personal space, i.e. a home, with beautiful design, decor, everything from the decor to the architectural structure to the exterior weather, the views. You can literally create, according to this, your own perfect dream world that is your place. You create your own avatar. You can choose from literally hundreds, if not thousands, of wardrobes and clothes and all this stuff. And so you're creating your virtual online you, and it can be anything. You could be a human, you could be a robot, you could be a shark. However you want to interact in different worlds. And on the keynote, it shows Mark transitioning to himself, his avatar version, and then going to interact with some of his friends. And his friends have designed this space up in space where they're floating in zero gravity and playing cards and interacting. And it's pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie. I'm definitely on the probably on the older end of the target market for this. Having just turned 50. I'll get to this in a second, but I certainly don't want to have this attitude of like, oh man, this is something that I want to stay away from. I can see where it's going to have tremendous appeal from an immersive experience online. Okay, and so on the interesting side, the metaverse is going to create what seems to be unlimited spaces, worlds, ways to interact, creative possibilities. In the keynote, they show how they're all checking out. So they have a friend who kind of beams in and shares some virtual street art that she just saw. So this person is walking down a real street, but while using this technology is able to share some virtual art, 3D graffiti that was placed in a real setting, and she's able to share that. I don't even know exactly how it works, but it's pretty fascinating. From a creative perspective, and from a sky's the limit in terms of imagination, it's pretty remarkable. Now, I think for me, looking at this, I think we all knew that something like this was coming. Facebook invested in and/or bought Oculus, however many years ago, let's call it 5 years ago. So they made this, big investment in virtual reality, equipment. And interestingly enough, one of the first things that they're going to do to roll out the metaverse, if you will, is start establishing actual brick and mortar meta stores where you're going to be able to buy all the gear and technology that will allow you to interact and enter into this world. So they've got to sell you the gear, and they also actually have to build out the whole thing. Right now, it's a concept in infancy stages, but over the next period of time, don't know how long it's going to be. I imagine this is a 2 to 5 year run of creating this. This is going to be built out, and it presents, some very interesting thoughts for me. Having simply just watched the keynote and seen the basic introductory level of what this is going to look like, certainly you can see how for some people, and perhaps young kids, this is going to be very enticing and very intoxicating. And my takeaway from this is that for many people around the world who perhaps are not fully engaged in the real world. Maybe their life isn't going so great. Maybe they don't feel like they fit in the real world. Perhaps their health is not good. Perhaps even could be applied to seniors, whose health is diminishing. I don't know. I mean, the applications are endless. But I came away with this thought of, wow, this could be better than real life for many people. And that's when it starts to get scary, right? That's when the whole Matrix comparisons start to come to life, and you think, man, how crazy is it that movie is some 20 years old, and here we are seeing, a life simulation starting to be born, and one that will without a doubt attract many people into it who will find that their interaction in this world is more rich, more fulfilling, and more rewarding than actual life. When you think about people's economic state, when you think about the state of their health, when you think about the fact that people will basically be able to sit at home, work from home, when we're already, so many of us are so many people. I mean, I'm still coming to an office every day because I like it, but it's not to say that it's necessary. We've proven that work from home is a very real and viable way for people to do business. That's only going to continue to grow. So you look at people who can work from home, have almost anything that they desire and or need be delivered directly to home within a day or two. You've got the onset of digital currencies and NFTs, and I know NFT is the new thing right now, and I couldn't even begin to tell you really what it is, other than I understand it as like some sort of digital online barter system. And if I screwed that description up, sorry. But we've created this world where, the younger generation is enraptured by technology. They understand it, they get it. They've been playing games that have taught them how to build cities and communities online. And now we're rolling out a platform that is going to allow people to, and we already can work from home, but they're going to be able to work in the metaverse and interact. So forget Zoom, these face-to-face, little pictures. I mean, to be able to interact in a 3-dimensional or 4-dimensional way with other coworkers, that's going to be pretty enticing. So I guess the point that I'm making is, how many people are going to just find it so much easier and more enjoyable just to sit in the comfort of their small little home or apartment, whatever it may be, and spend a majority of their life online in an artificial reality? I mean, that's where it's like, okay, that sounds terrifying to me, right? Of course, I'm the age that I am. I like being outside in the real world, interacting with real people face to face, breathing fresh air, exercising, doing all of the things that I love to do in the real world. And if given the choice between having to live my life in a virtual reality simulation to some degree or living a real life out in the open, I mean, I know certainly what I would choose. That being said, who am I to say what's better or worse or what people should or should not do? But it does, for me, create some issues that I think are concerning. One, again, how many young kids are going to be so enticed by this that they are going to be sucked into this world and find it so addictive and so impossible to leave that we almost become completely different as human beings. What happens within the world? When do businesses start entering the metaverse to attract, to advertise or market, to host and hold commerce online? At what point in time, is privacy breached at another level? And at what point in time do people become so addicted to this that they almost become enslaved by it? And then does that become some sort of Orwellian vehicle for control? A lot to think about here. There's nothing that's going to stop it. It's happening, right? And anybody that has kids, I think, is going to need to spend a lot of time understanding this from a perspective of being able to look at the benefits and the good side of it, but also to remain open and wary to what would be the concerns, because you're going to want to discuss this stuff with your children. You're going to not want to be the parent that says, oh, that's all horrible, you can't do it, because we all know what kids are going to do. That's going to drive them to it even more, right? But there presents a real opportunity here for a major shift in the way people live and experience the world that I do find concerning. So I titled this Mars in the Metaverse. I've talked exclusively about the Metaverse, but I'm going to shift just for a moment, because I feel like I've touched on the Metaverse, and I'm going to hopefully tie it all together, which is an even more interesting thing to me. You look at Elon Musk, at any given time, one of, if not the wealthiest human being on the planet, according to Forbes, that is. And where is he investing his time and energy? Of course, Tesla, building electric vehicles. But SpaceX, I think everybody would agree that's his real primary focus. And what's the focus of SpaceX? And Elon Musk's been very clear about this. What's his goal? To get the human race to Mars. He has a very strong feeling that time is of the essence, and that we cannot hesitate, and we must develop this technology, and we must make the human species, an interplanetary species, if I think I'm quoting him correctly. That's where he's putting his money. You look at Jeff Bezos, with Blue Origin, they just, launched his awkwardly shaped rocket into space, where everybody's riding around and floating around, having a great time. And the recent news reports indicated that Jeff Bezos is going to be investing significant money through Blue Origin into, I believe, an international business tourism space station. Okay. Richard Branson investing money in Virgin Galactic. So you look at where the money is being invested, and then that brings us back to Facebook and Mark Zuckerberg and creating the metaverse. And you start seeing where the wealthiest people on the planet, where are they putting their money? They're putting their money into space and technology, and particularly creating alternative realities. You don't see any of these men or women. I'm talking about men here because those are the ones that most easily come to mind. You don't see any of them putting any money into environmental issues. You don't see them putting money into cleaning up the planet. I've said this on a previous podcast. I don't understand why somebody significantly successful hasn't found a profitable business model for cleaning the planet, literally being the custodial service of the planet. How is there not money in that? Perhaps I'm being naive there, but you'd think that with all this extreme focus on climate change, that there would be somebody that finds ways to get the job done profitably and profit from it. But you don't see any of the wealthiest people in the world, from what I can see, spending their time or energy trying to fix the planet. You see them trying to get the hell out of here in the form of a rocket, or to get the hell out of here in the form of an alternative reality. Pretty interesting stuff, right? I am not a deep researcher on this stuff. I'm just a human being paying attention to the news and digging in a little bit here and generating my own thoughts and opinions about this topic. But Mars and the Metaverse, interesting stuff going on in terms of where the wealthiest people on the planet are investing their financial resources. I would love to hear from any one of you watching this if you've made it to the end of this episode. I'd love to hear your thoughts. I'm an open book on this. I really am. I want to hear what people think. I want to hear the pros. I want to hear the cons. Do you think that, at what point in time does marketing become virtual, right? Like, when does all this, stuff that we've been doing digitally just go completely virtual, and how? Who are the companies that are going to enter that space and pioneer that space, right? It's very fascinating stuff. So I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. So I'm going to sign out now. It is me, Chris Herman, thanking you for watching another episode of On Deck. This one, Mars and the Metaverse. Thanks so much, and have a